Cabrera in New York. First breaking news. South Korea's news agency now reporting an attempted missile launch by North Korea failed. This news comes after North Korea put the world on notice by flaunting what could be brand new missiles through the streets of Pyongyang. CNN was there on the ground during this massive military parade that included 2 canisters big enough to hold intercontinental ballistic missiles, the type of missile capable of reaching the United States. Now, this is the first time Pyongyang has ever shown off canisters of this size, or we could just be looking at empty shells. We just don't know. But the threat could not come at a more critical time. North Korea vowing a merciless response if provoked by the U.S. Now, as we await the arrival of Vice President Mike Pence on the Korean Peninsula, he lands in Seoul just hours from now. President Trump also getting updates on North Korea's actions as he spends the Easter weekend at his Mar-a-Lago resort. We have live team coverage, including reporters in Pyongyang and Seoul, as well as a team of analysts standing by. I want to begin with CNN's Paula Hancock in Seoul. Paula, fill us in on this breaking news.
Well, Anna, what we have at this point is from a Defense Ministry official here in South Korea saying a projectile was fired this morning, Sunday morning local time, and it appears to have failed. Now, there aren't many more details beyond that. Obviously, intelligence agencies and the military trying to track exactly what kind of projectile this was. But we do know that it was fired from the area of Shimpo. This is a port city on the east coast of Korea, and this is where we saw that missile launch back on April 6th as well, just before the Chinese leader Xi Jinping was going to meet President Trump. We also know that this is an area where they have been trying to perfect their submarine-launched missiles in the past, over recent months. So certainly a very busy area for North Korea. But according to this South Korean Defense Ministry official, it did fail. So we're waiting to hear more information about what kind of missile it was. But obviously a very interesting timing, just one day after Day of the Sun, after that very important date in North Korea, where we saw that massive military parade. So of course, analysts will be wanting to know which of those missiles they just tried to fire. Anna?
Again, this is breaking news. We're learning about this just in the last few minutes. I want to turn to Will Ripley, who is live in North Korea for us. Will, are you learning any more about this apparent missile test that we have been told failed?
No confirmation on the ground here in Pyongyang at this point, and frankly, we may not hear anything about it. North Korea often announces successful missile tests on their state media in a very celebratory tone. If the missile test is a failure, North Koreans will likely never hear about it. North Korea doesn't routinely report their military operations unless there is a propaganda benefit for it, and in this case, given the fact that this launch was reportedly a failure just one day after North Korea's most important holiday, it's not something that they would want to draw attention to. A lot of people were expecting a nuclear test on Saturday because the satellite imagery has shown that the Punggye-ri nuclear test site is primed and ready. This is according to the think tank 38 North, intelligence officials with the U.S. and South Korea, and people possibly thought that in the lead up to this major holiday, Kim Jong-un might push the button on that nuclear test. He did not do that, but what he did was to show force by parading more missiles in a North Korean military parade than we've ever seen before. These, according to analysts, are most likely mock-ups, but that doesn't mean that North Korea doesn't possess actual versions of these missiles. Analysts say mock-ups are often used in military parades in countries around the world purely for safety reasons. You wouldn't want to have an actual, nuclear warhead sitting in close proximity to your nation's leader and hundreds of thousands of onlookers. But people who might, dismiss these as, cardboard or, fake missiles would not be giving the North Koreans credit for the progress, the really rapid, frantic progress that they've made in developing their missile systems and nuclear program over the last few years. And even if this launch this morning, if it is confirmed to be a failure, and we may not know what kind of missile they were attempting to launch, even these failures, Anna, give the North Koreans valuable intelligence that they use, and they have shown under Kim Jong-un that they will keep trying. He's launched more missiles over the last few years of his rule. He's been now in power for 5 years, launched more missiles than his father and his grandfather combined. He's ordered 3 nuclear tests out of the country's 5 that they've conducted over the last decade, and indications are really the next nuclear test could come at any moment. So they're all in, pushing forward, and I can tell you that a failure like this would not deter them from continuing these provocative acts. And to show that they launched the missile, in spite of the fact that the USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group is off the Korean Peninsula, it clearly shows that these attempts by the U.S. to show force and deter Kim Jong-un from doing this may not be working. In fact, North Korean officials told me that there was a special forces operation just last week, commandos jumping out of airplanes, and for the first time, we were told that was in direct response to tweets from President Trump about North Korea. Anna?
All right, well, Ripley, Paula Hancock, stand by. I want to bring in my panel right now, CNN military analyst and retired Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling, CNN intelligence and security analyst and former CIA operative Bob Baer, and Jonathan Crystal, a fellow at the World Policy Institute. First to you, Jonathan, I am curious to get your reaction to what we are hearing now on this breaking news. Of course, it has not been confirmed in North Korea. South Korea has confirmed this test that they're calling a failure, but Will Ripley just reporting that North Koreans may never hear about this test if it was indeed a failure.
Well, it seems like the tradition of a birthday weekend that